Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about The Flash, episode 312, titled Untouchable, which premiered Tuesday, February 7th, 2017 on the CW. So guys, quick reminder, huge spoiler alert, I hope you watched the episode before you come and check to see what I thought about the episode. I'm going to try not to summarize, but it might happen. I will say that I try not to, but again, with me just going off of my notes, you never know. But anyways, 3 rules for my videos. Mentioned them beforehand, but they're on screen right now. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the 10-minute clock, and let's begin with what's happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, not really sure. All you know that it's been a few weeks now that the team has known about Savitar's future attack on Iris, and so it's been a few weeks since episode 310. The episode reminder of would be Flashpoint. There's definitely more references to Flashpoint in this episode, so that's a huge reminder there. Sorry if I'm stumbling, guys. It's a bit late for me right now. Anyways, villain, you get Clive Yorkin. You don't actually get a metahuman name for him, which was surprising, I now realized. But he definitely has the power to, anything he touches pretty much decays really fast. So they've been calling his touch the touch of death. So anyways, episode breakdown, you kind of got four storylines from the looks of it. First one being that Barry is trying to train Wally to everything that he knows. First one being how to phase. We see Barry phase many times throughout the episode, and we see Wally failing many times until at the very end he is able to phase through, not only through a person, but he's able to get it done when he needs to. And then later on we see him phase through the same piece of wall that he ran into many times beforehand. Second storyline has to deal with dealing with Clive Yorkins. So that whole storyline is not only dealing with identifying him and finding his connection, but also stopping him. We also find out that Clive was going after the cops that were involved in catching him in Flashpoint. So that included Joe, the captain, and 2 officers. They managed to get the captain and one of the officers, and when he was targeting the second officer, that's when they were able to stop him. Unfortunately, Iris gets infected during this whole ordeal, which kind of leads to Caitlin having to draw on her Frost powers to kind of slow down the infection. For a brief moment, though, we saw Caitlin Frost emerge, though. So we see a bit of struggling there. Another storyline that happened was the fact that Joe officially met Cecile's daughter, Joni, who is back during a study break from her studies at Coast U. She's undecided, and she doesn't seem like she knows any direction that she's going to go into. Kind of flippant about it from it, but she's also a huge Kid Flash fan, so that was apparent. Also in this episode, it's not really a storyline, but it should be noted that Joe finally finds out about Iris's supposed death by Savitar's hand in the future. Now, last moments of the episode show Jesse Quick from Earth 2 portaling in to the Speed Lab and telling Wally that Gorilla Grodd has taken her father into Gorilla City. So that's scary. Tidbit-wise, we find out that Earth 19 has banned gambling, even though HR was very enthusiastic about the prospect. And also we found out that Flashpoint still actually exists, but in another universe, from my understanding. So we'll get back into that later on, though. But what was the most shocking moment of the episode? I have to say the fact that Barry was able to phase a whole train so that it could go right through a whole pile of rubble that they couldn't move. So that was shocking, but it's also one of my favorite moments. So let's move on straight to that, to my top 3 favorite moments. Like I mentioned, my absolute favorite was the fact that Barry was able to phase a whole train to go through the rubble. It's my favorite because it's something that it was so cool just to see Barry accomplish something like that. And the fact that he had faith that if he was ever going to be able to do it, now's the time to do it. He's never tried it before, but the theory behind it, he knew it could be done. It was just him having faith that he would be able to do it, and he really had no choice in the matter. He had to do it as the only option to save all those people. I actually thought that he was going to actually try to lift the train up, which is kind of stupid. I think he wouldn't even have the extra strength to do that. But yeah, I really liked how Barry just went in there and gave it his all. And and it worked. And just how everyone was surprised to see that, especially Cisco and HR. It was just like, yeah, Barry did it again. So I really like that part. Another part that I could say is my favorite has to be Julian helping Caitlin fight off Caitlin Frost's control over her. He's trying, the way he did it, I really liked how that was definitely, throughout the whole episode, Caitlin was kind of regretting getting Julian on the team, but I think he proved himself that when push came to shove, he knew what he needed to say. He knew what he was supposed to say in that moment. Instead of making it worse, he made it better, and he showed that he had true faith in her. He believed her to be one of the strongest people he's ever met. It really shows. And then the fact that she asked him out for drinks later on, and he just quick and agreed and said, oh, yeah, sure, I'd love to, when he was already going to go and continue working on finding another metahuman husk. I mean, he was already determined to go home and do more work, but the moment that she asked him out for drinks, he's like, yeah, I can do work later. Let's have a drink together. So I really like that. It's so cute. So there's that. Another favorite moment for me has to be the fact that Cisco was able to vibe to Flashpoint. Again, like everybody else, I thought Flashpoint didn't exist anymore, but from what I can understand, it still does, because there could be another timeline where Barry did decide to stay in Flashpoint. So it was very interesting to see. They also kind of showed, it looks like they showed something very similar to what we would have seen in the actual Flashpoint episode. So I'm very tempted to go back to episode 301 and see if what Cisco saw in the vibe to Flashpoint is the same thing that was kind of shown in Flashpoint, but we just didn't pay attention to it because it wasn't the focus of Barry analyzing everything. Or maybe that I'm just overthinking it and they didn't. Maybe, I don't know. But it would be cool to see if it was actually in the episode and it was just off in the background. Also, last favorite moment, I would say it's like a bonus for me since it's number 4, is the fact that Wally's cockiness got knocked down in a few pegs for sure. A lot of my peeves for this season has been with Wally, especially since he became Kid Flash. It's just, I always hated how cocky he was. He kept boasting about how he's faster than the Flash now, and then just to see that no, he knows nothing about what it is that Barry does. And then the fact that Barry kept beating him, not only in just speed, but in technique and knowledge of what he does. It was just great to see Wally being knocked down a peg. And even though Iris was she kind of paid the price for it, it was great to see Wally realize that he's not ready. He can't just jump right in and be all cocky about it. He has to think, he has to do a lot more thinking while in the field. He can't go in blind, pretty much. And I like that even though Barry says that he is ready, he just has to approach things differently. It was just great to see in that moment where, yes, Iris was kind of fighting for her life there, but Wally was knocked down and not so cocky as he is. Like, he's like, kind of like the fact that he has no skill, yet he didn't work to get the skill type thing. But anyways, that was my favorite for some really weird reason. Anyways, top 3 peeved moments. For some reason, I do not understand how in the voiceover at the very beginning of the episode, Barry keeps on saying, I am the fastest man alive. Yet it bugs me when he says that, because so far we have seen many speedsters that are faster than him. The Reverse Flash was faster than him, and then Barry got faster to defeat him. Okay, that makes sense. Then you have Zoom. Zoom was a hell of a lot faster, and then Barry became faster and outsmarted Zoom. So, okay. Now you have Wally, who is faster than Barry, and he's not going to go anywhere. So, can Barry really say he is the fastest man alive? He may be the most skilled speedster alive, but he's not the fastest anymore. You also have Jay Garrick, the real one, who could very well be faster than Barry too. But then you got Savitar as well, the speed god himself, who is again another speedster that's faster than Barry. So it's like, why is he still claiming to be the fastest man alive if there are so many other speedsters who are a lot faster than him and are his nemesis type thing, right? So it peeves me that I don't get why he keeps saying that. I mean, he says it to Wally a lot in this episode. It's like, I'm still the fastest man alive. It's like, but Wally's getting faster. It's like Barry's not getting faster at the same rate. So it's like, how much he's more skilled speedster than Wally, but he's not faster than Wally for most of it. So yeah, that's kind of irritates me. Next peeve moment was the fact that the Flash team was expecting Caitlin to use her powers to stop Iris's decay, when Caitlin hasn't even trained herself to use these powers. It's like they expect the inner Caitlin Frost within her to know how to use her powers in this very specific way that she wanted, or they wanted her to use them. There goes the timer. So it really irritated me that they expected so much from her. Like, yes, I really liked how much faith they had in her that Caitlin would still remain in control, but that's kind of not the issue as well. Not only does Caitlin not only is she worrying about the control of her power and not having Killer Frost take over, or even Caitlin Frost for that matter, but she has no control over how to use her power specifically. Because for all you know, she could have easily, even if she had control over the inner Frost in her, she could have easily frozen Iris enough that she would have given her frostbite. She would have caused nerve damage. It's like, Caitlin hasn't trained herself to use these powers in any specific capacity. She doesn't know how much of it to use to only cause a small amount of freeze or to do a lethal amount of freeze. So it's just like, you expect her to do something so specific, and yet she's never been trained to get to that level, and yet you expect her to figure it out in a brief second how to do it. So it's kind of like, that's kind of what irritated me. Moving on though to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode, Barry's phasing of a train. I can't get that out of my head. That's so cool. But let's move on. Random questions. First one, did Clive Yorkin even have powers in Flashpoint? Because it did not look like it in the vibe visit that we got to see of it. Yes, there have been many jibes towards him, but I did not get the impression that he had the touch of death over there. Which begs the question of, like, why was he targeted by alchemy to get powers if it didn't look like he had them in Flashpoint? So there's that. Also, second question, is Flashpoint considered another Earth or another universe? I know I said another universe, but it has me wondering, is it another Earth that we're talking about and not just another universe? Or is it even not, or is it even another universe, or is it just another timeline possibility? I don't know. When they really got into that description, it was just, I got lost in it, in the very depth of it. Also, last question, it's a very, very random one, was the fact that if Clive could decay anything, like anything he touched, living or dead or not living, dead or inanimate type thing, then why weren't any of his clothes decaying? What about the food that he would have to eat? What about getting ready and stuff? Like, I get with the touching other stuff, he doesn't want to decay. He could always wear gloves, but what's stopping the gloves from decaying? What's stopping the clothes on his back from decaying from him? What's stopping him from walking around naked if everything he touches decays? The shoes, the street, what, I don't, that's like really puzzling me right now. Anyways, let's move on to predictions. So based off the promo for 313, it looks like we get a week of hiatus as the episode doesn't return until February 21st. And it looks like Barry, Cisco, Caitlin, and Julian traveled to Earth 2 to face Gorilla Grodd as they try to get Dr. Harry Wells back. And it's also a 2-episode event for the looks of it. Based off the synopsis, though, for 313, it reads that when Jessie Quick informs the team that her father has been abducted, Barry, Caitlin, Cisco, and Julian voyage to Earth 2 on a rescue mission to save Harry from Gorilla City. As they trek through the forest, Barry and the team are immediately captured and brought to Grodd. Grodd tells them he needs their help to stop Solivar, the leader of Gorilla City, as Solivar wants to invade Earth 1. Meanwhile, back on Earth 1, Jessie and Kid Flash hit the streets to stop a metahuman that can control gravity, with HR and Joe guiding them from Star Labs. So at least they didn't leave Earth 1 completely defenseless without a speedster. So there's that. It also is looking like any visit to Earth 2 would be a 2-episode event, kind of like how last year we went to Earth 2 for the first time in episode 213 and 214 to rescue Jessie from Zoom. So it looks like we're going to get something similar to that this year with a rescue from for Dr. Harry Wells from the looks of it. So that's going to be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see Julian and Caitlin's reaction to Earth 2, since it was only Barry and Cisco who went last time. So that'd be cool. Be interesting to see how developed Gorilla City is. Interesting to see how the other gorillas behave around Grodd, since we have to remember that Gorilla Grodd is from Earth 1, essentially. So that'll be interesting as well. But that's pretty much all that I could think about for predictions. But what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Sorry for any rambles or stumbles, guys, throughout the video. It's almost 2 a.m. for me that I'm recording this on, and I do apologize about that. But I wanted to speak my thoughts before I went to bed. But anyways, also don't forget to check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. Read blog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all in one place. So go follow me there if you want everything to be in one place for you. Go follow me there. Also, WordPress account gives you more organization from Tumblr, so you can find it all there. You can follow me there, and it's also connected to anything else I post online, so go check that out if you like. It's still a work in progress, but it's to appreciate if you have a look. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to hear what I have to say about the next episode, or 2 weeks, I should say. So until then, guys, this is Mel, wishing you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.